The first TOEFL speaking mistake I see most often is that students don't have a plan before they speak. So think about it like going on a vacation. If you don't have a plan of what you want to see and what you want to do, you're going to see and do a lot less. It's the same for TOEFL. If you don't have a plan for how you're going to start, what you're going to say in the middle, and what you're going to say at the end, it's going to be a lot harder to do well. It doesn't have to just be a template. Here are some examples of goals that you can have before you start to speak. So for example, question number 1, I'm going to start by saying, in my opinion. Or for question number 2, I'm going to keep my verbs in the simple past. I'm not going to use the future, I'm just going to use the simple past. Or for question 3, maybe I'm going to listen for the topic and its definition when I listen to the audio passage for this question. So each question, your goal might be different, but you want to have like a specific goal before you speak. It'll help you remain focused and help you have positive results. Okay, so that's the first mistake you want to avoid. Second mistake is that you're not kind to yourself. So this is the other part of having a plan before you speak. A lot of times before you speak, before a lot of students speak, they speak pretty negatively about themselves. Like, I'm not good at question number 3. I always, mess up the conclusion. I need to find reasons and examples. I never find enough reasons and examples. So when you talk very negatively about your own self and your own kind of, performance, you're not going to perform as well. Your mind is connected to your body. Your mind is connected to your voice. So the first mistake is that you want to have a plan. People don't have a plan. You want to have a plan. That way you can get rid of some of these negative thoughts and instead focus on your plan. Instead of thinking, I'm so bad at this question, you can think, I'm going to start by saying, in my opinion. Or I'm going to start by saying, for example, or I'm going to give an example and I'm going to introduce it with, for example. So these are more positive things to do. And so, yeah, I can't do question 2. I can't speak for 60 seconds. I hate the sound of my own voice. I always get nervous. These are things that people say a lot when they're practicing for TOEFL. It's not helpful, okay? You want to focus on solving your problems. And this is what I plan to do about it. So you can say these things. I always get nervous, and this is what I plan to do about it. I can't do question 2, and this is what I plan to do about it. Be solution-oriented. Never end with just the negative, okay? If there's something negative, think of how you plan on overcoming it, okay? Be positive. The third mistake I see pretty often is that students ignore weaknesses. When you're speaking another language, you know that there's some issues. You know there's some things that you're not doing so well, but they're not that important. People can still understand you, so it's not that big of a deal. It becomes a big deal when you have to do a test like this. So you gotta face your weaknesses. Record your voice. I know you hate the sound of your own voice, but record your voice, listen to it, and transcribe it. So not only do you listen to your own voice, but you also write down everything you said. The responses are just 1 minute long, so hopefully it's not that painful. But be honest about your weaknesses. And that's the way that you're going to improve, by listening to your response. Think like an athlete. Sports athletes, that's what athletes are, sports athletes. So athletes, people who play sports, they watch tape. They watch themselves playing. They watch their opponent playing. It's because that gives them valuable feedback. Do the same. Record yourself. Give yourself feedback that will help you improve. So, this is a grading checklist here. I'm not going to go through all this, but you can take a screenshot and you can use this when you're listening to your response to check if some of these things are weaknesses for you. All right. Oh, and that's exactly what we do at speakerenglish.com. There is a 30-day TOEFL speaking plan that is guaranteed to improve your speaking score. So check it out at Speaker English. This is what we do. Basically, I wanted to make it's more than a course. It's a plan where you record, listen to your response, transcribe it, and do activities that help you build, reduce your weaknesses and improve your strengths. So this is exactly for students who want to improve their TOEFL speaking check it out, speakerenglish.com. Let me go to the next speaking mistake, which is you try to fix everything. So when you listen and when you record and listen to your response, you might start noticing a lot of things you don't like. You see this grading checklist and you notice a lot of things. Maybe you sound too nervous and you make too many grammar mistakes and you're speaking too slow and you're saying or too much, and you're noticing a lot of different things. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to record my voice again and I'm going to be perfect this time. It's not a very realistic way to work on your speaking. You need to work on one thing at a time. If you listen to your response and you think, okay, I spoke too slow, I need to speak a bit faster this time, let me try to do the same response again, but I'm going to try to do it 5 seconds faster. I'm going to say the same words, I'm going to read my transcript and just try to say it 5 seconds faster. And that's all you're trying to do. You're trying to do one thing. That's it, just one thing. And then you move on to the next question, and for the next question you focus on one thing. In the past, I used to tell students that you want to try to make one response perfect. I don't do that anymore. It's not as helpful as focusing on one thing at a time and trying to just build little by little, step by step. Okay, so focus on one thing at a time. You're not going to be perfect, that's okay. You want to try to work on your weaknesses, and you might have more than one. And if you have more than one, you need to work on one weakness at a time. Okay, so that's the fourth mistake I see. And the fifth mistake is that you don't care about your answer. So what do I mean? If you look at a question like this where, I'll read the first one. Your local government has decided to build a new elementary school. Do you think this is a good idea? Now, maybe you don't care about this. You're not in the government. You don't have kids. What do I care about an elementary school? So your response sounds like this. You say, well, I think it's a good idea for the local government to build an elementary school because it's going to be a lot of fun for the kids. There's not a lot of schools here right now, and I think it's better for kids to have an elementary school where they can play. So that's the first reason why I think this. The first reason is that kids can play in this elementary school. For example, when I was a kid, I used to play in an elementary school where there was a lot of basketball nets and blah, blah. So, pretty boring. And also, it sounds like I don't care. I'm speaking really fast, but I just basically want you to hear this very flat, monotonous kind of speaking. Speaking speed is important. It's good to speak fast, but when you don't care about what you're saying, it's a lot harder to find words, to articulate, to be passionate about it, to be able to speak for 1 minute straight. You gotta care. You have to care about what you're saying, be able to speak for 1 minute straight, and for you to expect other people to listen to you. Now, other people don't listen to you for TOEFL. It's just a computer and a speech and a grader. But you still want to try to connect emotionally to what you're saying. I know you don't care about the academic topics. I know you don't care about question 1, but you want to act like you care. It's very important. All right, so these are the 5 mistakes avoid on test day, but there's one other big kind of tip, mistake to avoid. I will say tip that I really want you to focus on to improve your speaking. And I made this video, TOEFL speaking, how to improve your score by 3 points. Really important video. Watch this one if you found this helpful. And don't forget to check out speakerenglish.com if you want to check out the study plan and you don't have to worry about what to do every day. Everything's laid out for you. But that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.